You're in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. Special guest, and I mean very special guest, the legendary Boomer Esiason is in the house. Okay, so the Bengals had their bye week. They've rested up all the injuries. They've licked their wounds, whatever the case may be. Hopefully they're minimal. And they start off by going on the road to Las Vegas to play the Raiders. What do you think there, Boomer?
You know what? I think it's a team that can be beat. Their defense was one of the worst defenses in football again last year. I think this is also going to be a really high-scoring game. You know, both of these teams, assuming everybody's healthy, all wide receivers are healthy, everybody's on the field. The Raiders are going to be one of those middling teams. They're going to be somewhere between 7-10, 10-7. That's what I think they're going to be. But I think they're going to be that way simply because Derek Carr, I think, is a terrific young quarterback. I do like him. I can't believe, I think he's starting his either 8th or 9th year as the starting quarterback of the Raiders, which is amazing. So I think it's an opportunity for the Bengals to go get another one on the road. And it should be, like I said, a high-scoring game, assuming that all the parties that are expected to play are out there on the field playing. And I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Burrow goes over 400 yards passing in this game.
Wow. So that evens the Bengals record up at 5-5. The Bengals then face the Pittsburgh Steelers in Cincinnati, where they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers last year.
Always a toss-up game in Cincinnati. This is a pick'em game for me. This is a game that, here we are halfway through the season. Ben Roethlisberger is 39 years old. Which one of these teams is still standing? Which one of these teams is the healthiest? This is a pick'em for me. The Bengals could beat the Steelers, and usually do. Somewhere along the line when somebody doesn't expect them to. It's Steeler week in Cincinnati. I'll give the Steelers. I'll give the Bengals a win here.
All right. So Boomer Esiason has the Bengals with a 6-5 record after 11 games. That dog will hunt all day, every day. Next, the LA Chargers. What do you think about the young quarterback at the helm for the Chargers?
He's terrific. He's just as good as Joe Burrow. These two guys are going to have a lot of great games in the future. To me, when I look at these two players, I think Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. They're not going to play every year against each other just simply because they're not in the same division. But I do see playoff games involving both of these quarterbacks. That's how good I believe both of them are. If the Chargers can ever stay healthy, they're going to be a really good team. They got a good roster. They got pass rushers. They got secondary guys. But they've had so many injuries over the last few years. Plus, Anthony Lynn was just atrocious at managing the game. I think Brandon Staley's one of these young coaches that's come out of this group of coaches that are in the NFL now that really understand the analytics of the game. And I think he's going to be a much better game manager than Anthony Lynn was. And if that's the case, then I think this is going to be a tough team for the Bengals to beat.
So that evens the record up at 6-6. The San Francisco 49ers up next. They come to Cincinnati as well. So two West Coast teams travel all the way to Cincinnati, and 49ers are up. What do you think?
They're loaded. And defensively, they're great. They got a great defensive line, a really solid offensive line. The biggest question out there right now for Kyle Shanahan, at least as we head into the season, is he going to give Trey Lance an opportunity to play some snaps during the game and take some of the pressure off of Jimmy Garoppolo? I know if I were Jimmy Garoppolo, I wouldn't like that. I'd want to be the starting quarterback. I don't want to be, alternating series. I don't want a guy to come in the middle of the game, especially if I'm playing well. I think one of the reasons they drafted Trey Lance is because of the inability of Jimmy Garoppolo to stay on the field. I think if Garoppolo's the quarterback, this is a tough one for the Bengals. Trey Lance hasn't played a lot. He's a very young kid. And if he plays, I think you have another set of circumstances you got to deal with his ability to run. But at the end of the day, San Francisco is definitely one of the top 6 teams when healthy.
So the Bengals are now 6-7, and they have another trip out west. They go to Denver to play the Broncos. What do you think of the Denver Broncos? I've heard all kinds of opinions, varying opinions about the Broncos. What's your take, Boomer?
Well, their defense is great. Again, they got to stay healthy. If Von Miller is healthy and Bradley Chubb is healthy, I mean, they got pass rushers. They got a good secondary. They got Vic Fangio as the head coach, who's a great defensive coordinator. Their big question mark is it Teddy Bridgewater? Is it Drew Lock? Is Cam Newton playing for them at this point? Who knows?
Right.
They do have a great wide receiver core too, by the way. So this is kind of one of these sneaky teams. This team is another team that's going to go somewhere between 7-10 and 10-7. And it all depends on their quarterback. Now, they're playing in a division that has Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, and Patrick Mahomes. So their record is going to reflect that division. So I
Right.
think they're going to have probably a losing record when they see the Bengals, but that doesn't mean that they're a losing quality roster. This is a really good team. So this is going to be a tough spot for the Bengals.
I agree. So you're saying that the Bengals are struggling out in Denver and maybe lose a close one out there?
Yeah, that's what I would say here before the season starts, and you're asking me to say this.
Gotcha. So 6-8 at this point in time, and the Baltimore Ravens, or is it 6-8? I think it's something like that. It's a couple of games under 500, I think, at this point. The Bengals play the Ravens in Cincinnati the day after Christmas, December 26th. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals in this one. Much like, to me, the Bengals will always give the Ravens, the Steelers, they'll give them a great effort. And I'm assuming Joe Burrow's in the middle of a great offensive year. I still think their offense is doing well. I think their defense is struggling. And, I'll take the Bengals at home here.
All right, so that's the 7th win for the Bengals, Baltimore. Kansas City comes to Cincinnati. What do you think, Patrick Mahomes and the boys? Do you think Kansas City can pull off a repeat in the Super Bowl, Boomer?
Yes, I can. And they worked on their offensive line this offseason, tried to shore that up because we all saw what happened against Tampa in the Super Bowl 54. So, they're loaded. It just comes down to injury. If they're not injured and Patrick Mahomes is out there playing, they are, in my eyes, either the first or the second best team in the league, right there with Tampa.
So the Bengals now stand at 7-9 after 16 games, and here come the Cleveland Browns one last time down to Cincinnati on January 9th. Ooh, what do you think? I mean,
I'm already exhausted.
They're resting players? Maybe they're resting players.
I'm already exhausted. We're talking about 17 games, and we're not even playing.
Right.
They also could be fighting for a home field advantage.
True.
And obviously that is a big thing for every team in the league. Buffalo has really struggled going on the road. At home, they're almost virtually unbeatable. And I feel like Cleveland's going to be that way this year. So either Buffalo or Cleveland, in order to get over Kansas City, has to fight for home field advantage. So to me, I think this game is going to mean something. And I would think that the Browns, like I said earlier today, they are loaded. And if they stay healthy, then they're going to be a team that, looks like, I think, can sweep through the AFC North.
So the Bengals finished with a 7-10 mark. That's a 3-win improvement from last year's 2020 season of 4 victories, 10 losses, and a tie. 4-11-1, I should say. So there is improvement, but still double-digit losses. I was hoping, and I'm still hoping, the Bengals can get out of that double-digit loss scenario. And we're talking one football game. 8-9 would be, I think, a really good season for them. But we shall see, Boomer Esiason, and certainly do appreciate your time, your thoughts, your opinions. You are the best.
I appreciate it, Dave. Think back to 1985 for our Bengal team. We were a good team, but we were close to the playoffs. We didn't make the playoffs. And I think that's right now where the Bengals are. They got their quarterback of the future. They got their young wide receivers of the future. They'll add some more offensive linemen over the next couple of years. Their defense has got to continue to grow. But I still think this year, you watch, they'll have one of the better passing offenses in all of the NFL.
At First Star Logistics, we're a very strict company that really puts the pressure on our employees. Brakes? What are those?
That's what I'm talking about, Icky. Get the body right, then the mind's right.
You gotta get that body right.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Become a star with a chance to earn the highest commission percentages in the industry as a freight broker agent. Check out FirstStarLogistics.com.